Like coming up on the wrong side of the street. Peter?
Yeah?
Under the caravan for me. Peter?
Yeah?
Arrow.
So Wade, I've got this Great Walk networking marquee.
Is this the time for a conference? So, yeah, great.
Do
Yeah.
you think you need it here? Or what?
I'd love to have it here.
Would you?
I think we'll need it here.
Okay, and I've also got the sink, the washing up basin.
Great. Great.
I'll bring them up.
We could even set up another marquee over there even, possibly.
Where? Oh, okay.
What?
You reach the line and I'll pull you around this side.
Give me a bit of time, I'm going to try and move this up.
How much do you want?
And we're in this gravel pit, and half of all the other people are at the base camp over there. So during the course of this time, we want you to give your full attention, and we'll ask people like Wade to come up here and tell us Wade's been doing absolutely nothing for 2 days. He wasn't up that tree over there putting that banner on, and he didn't have a truckload of stuff coming down here. But Wade, can you come up and tell us what it's all about? Because I don't know.
I was asked to talk about how it actually started. I suppose it started when a few of us in the Wilderness Society, amongst the others from Wafer and so forth, have been running for years now campaigns, holding up trains, sending delegations to parliament members, writing submissions, letter writing calls, each work and so on. For a long time, people have been calling out, well, why don't we set up blockades and not
going to be about getting a sense of who the group is and interspersing some of that information with music. That'll be sort of between now and about 5 o'clock, people trying to set up the music wheel and set up camps if you have. What we're going to be talking about this afternoon is kind of an agenda as the coordinating group drummed up about an hour ago. So there's basically going to be information about the camp, or the 2 camps, the base camp and this festival site. There's going to be information about cooking and how that's happening or how that can happen, about non-violence training, about liaising with police, some legal information for people who will be participating in direct action, and a sense of what's happening for the rest of the day and for Sunday, for the last day of the festival. And we also wanted to get a sense of who you are and how this group is made. And who's here from the southwest? Who's here because you love and value freedom? Who understands what affinity groups are that we keep talking about? Okay, we're going to talk about that. Signed over there, there's signposts over there and that way. And if you're back at the main base camp, there's 3 lots of toilets with shade cloth provided, luxury. And there is also disinfectant and water there, and we ask you to wash your hands after going, no matter what you've touched, because if you're going back to the food tent, we need to maintain that hygiene. Otherwise we could have big problems. So everybody look after that side of it and make sure you wash your hands. There should be toilet paper there, but otherwise you may need to bring your own. And Sasha, you want to have a say that first day? Come up. Really loud. Come up.
About precautions that we need to organise this and possibly washing the tyres of people moving through the area. I'm looking for someone who's got more information. I know there are quarantineries and everything. So if anyone's got more information, I'd like to know a bit more and then we can get started.
Light on my skin, the one when I feel you within, yeah. Tell me it's the I can take you to some kind of new land. I'll put the moon in your hand and the stars in your mouth. And the stars in your mouth. And the stars in your mouth. And you want to run. And you want to play. Oh, we are the birds at the top of our trees. We sing the songs and we don't consider the ones the melodies until
Okay, John told me that's about a minute. Now what I want you to do is have a look around this group and bear witness to every individual who's here, because this is the part of non-violence training where we as individuals stand firm with our brothers and sisters to protect these forests, and we stand on the shoulders of all the people who have gone before us, and we see more clearly now than ever before that they need protection, and it's not individuals that do it by themselves, but in concert with everybody else. So have a look at
that we deal with the conflict that comes up, and that's the basic reason why we're going to be doing non-violence training. Before anybody goes into direct action, we want them to have thought through the way they're going to behave and the way other people are likely to behave, and to do it in a really creative and constructive way, and also to make it a safe situation for people to go into, so they don't go in with really good intentions and then something happens and they suddenly look around and find that they're holding up something and nobody else is helping because nobody has thought it through, nobody's got the techniques to be able to deal with the conflict. Okay, so we're going to have non-violence training tomorrow for those people who haven't done it, but it will be starting in the morning at 9 o'clock and going all day. But those people who've already done non-violence training
from September. We have decided that for tomorrow, in view of the self-imposed moratorium of the Forest Industries Federation, we will go to the 4 forest blocks which we have identified and reclaim those areas as People's National Parks, and that will be our major action for tomorrow, is to go to each of the 4 blocks in question and to have symbolic actions there in declaring those areas as protected areas. We're also currently planning a larger peaceful direct action protest for the middle of the week, and we'll make further announcements about that as the picture becomes clearer from Monday as to what exactly the industry and CALM and the government are intending to do in the rest of the high conservation value forest other than rocky, sharp, gibblet and hawk. We are very concerned, obviously, that some politicians and some people from the timber industry are obviously trying to play off workers against conservationists in a way that has been done many, many times before. It's become quite repetitious, really. I remember myself in 1982 at the Franklin campaign, a rally of something like 4,000 workers and people in Queenstown against
Specific, Peter.
The pop-up technique, would that be used?
Pop-up technique?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with what is the pop-up technique?
I think you mean sort of actively seeking out woodcutters. If after the first few days, or 3 or 4 days, there's nothing, you go out and just try to find people working.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that yet again we're not actually targeting the woodcutters in this instance, as you put it. We're targeting areas of high conservation value which shouldn't be logged. So if there are other areas of high conservation value forests which are actively being logged by timber workers, then it's definitely likely that we'll go out there and take action against that.
But how will you do that?
Well, the Department of Conservation and Land Management have made it quite clear to us that if there are any protesters on site, they will stop work in those areas. So we are assuming that they mean what they say, and so if they are working in a high conservation value forest area and we go out there, then they will stop work, and that will be a significant act of protection of forests.
But how far are you prepared to go? Are you prepared to strap yourself to trees or
There are no plans for that sort of thing.
But you'll do it if you have to?
It really is dependent on how things unfold. We've got no plans of that sort whatsoever at this stage. We believe it will simply be enough to have large numbers of people on site to stop work in those forests, and that's all we're seeking to do.
Strategically, that's going to be hard though to find those specific areas where they are in fact logging.
Well, we already know of some, and over the next couple of days we'll be finding out about more.
That's sort of a cat and mouse game, and they'll be waiting for you and you'll be trying to get in without being seen.
I suppose
It's a bit hard.
very hard. Well, we know which many of the high conservation value forests around here. We know which ones are being logged and which ones aren't, and we'll just systematically work through them and find if there are operations happening and attempt to stop them from happening.
Peter, by whom have they been deemed high conservation areas?
Well, one of the main processes has been the assessments that have been conducted by the Australian Heritage Commission over the last couple of years,
And hasn't the Commission made an agreement with CALM to allow logging in those 4 blocks?
No, it's by no means as clear cut as that. Sorry about that. We've actually got a detailed synopsis, if you like, of the what is actually said by the Australian Heritage Commission in relation to these high conservation value forests, and it is quite clear that it is not their intention that the values that those forests have be destroyed by logging operations. It's quite clear that that is not their intention. In particular, for example, they have said that in the case of wilderness forests, any logging operations in wilderness forests should be rescheduled until the end of the harvesting cycle. Now, there has been absolutely no effort whatsoever on the part of the Department of Conservation and Land Management and the state government to reschedule logging operations in wilderness forests to the end of the harvesting rotation, which means 5 or 10 years down the track. Quite the opposite, they're going straight into those very areas and are logging them as quickly as they possibly can.
Sure, action likely to hot up when Bob Brown arrives on Tuesday night?
We are looking forward to Bob Brown arriving here on Tuesday, and obviously he'll be a great morale boost to the campaign, and we'll use him as well as we can while he's here.
Will you be using some of the Eastern States techniques that he might have knowledge about?
Well, I've known Bob Brown for 12 years now, and I've known him all that time to be a completely peaceful person. He's been often on the receiving end of some very violent treatment. He has never resorted, to my knowledge, to any of the tactics that you have mentioned or any other radical tactics that have been referred to in the past. He's always put his body where his heart and soul is, and sometimes suffered the consequences.
Surely if you're going out into these forests and you're going to be in the area where they're doing logging, there's an element of danger for your people anyway. They really don't have to do much to be in danger of being under a falling carry tree, surely.
You mean one that's been chopped down or one that's fallen down?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there is an element of non-violence protest which recognises the fact that at times people will put their own well-being on the line, and we don't intend that there will be any possibility of people being harmed. We've got no interest in people being harmed, but as we've seen over many years, that people have been harmed when they've engaged in non-violent activities, and that ultimately has to be borne in mind by everyone participating, and everyone who's going to be taking part in those actions is fully aware that at some level they do have some risk attached to them.
And given the fact that you've got such a good turnout at the moment and you say it's going to continue for 4 weeks, how do you hold the interest? Are the people here all prepared to hang on in here for 4 weeks?
Ask them.
You better ask
You better hang in here for 4 weeks?
Sure do. Yes.
Yeah, see?
Longer.
This morning at the base camp there was a calm worker who said that of next Friday the workers have 3 weeks off. It's a standard thing that in July school holidays they take 3 weeks off. What happens then if there is no activity?
He said from next Friday. Well,
That's interesting.
other information that we're getting is that it's going to be from tomorrow for 3 weeks. So, I mean, there seems to be some disagreement amongst themselves as to what they're actually saying. So on the basis of that misunderstanding and disagreement that seems to be happening, we are obviously just going to have to continue with our plans as they stand and modify them very quickly, if needs be, as we go. And we will do that.
It's actually not the case that they had already planned to take 3 weeks off as they do every year. They actually take 2 weeks off every year in the middle of winter, and it's fairly obvious that they've taken this 3 weeks off step to try and defuse the action which is happening in the southwest forest and take away the attention from what the terrible things that they're doing here. And we've got a number of ideas about how it's going to be the most effective way of getting around that particular strategy.
Well, if you can sit here.
To try to avoid new licences for wood chipping being released, they have avoided some method, a means of participation from the community. What we found out was that there still exists within each of the wood chipping licences that have been issued federally the means for the minister to halt or to remove that licence. So the federal government have in each licence the necessity to make sure that species and vulnerable ecological communities are protected. What we all we know properly mad about what's happening with wood chipping. We also know that the numbers within the Labor caucus currently don't give those people a majority. What we're working on is providing that information through various means, whether it's questions, whether it's estimates committees or other means, to try to bring that information out. So even those people who've felt the necessity to stand up for the government's current atrocious policy may come in underline and realise what they've got to do. Some workers or some spokespeople for workers saying this movement is balancing out the forest values with the necessity for industry for resource security. The only trouble is when I asked what industry they were forest. I think that's extraordinary poor thinking, and I think that we cannot use those kind of efficiency measures which only look at the dollar values of what's difficult for people to gain information. Means that it's, we're just at the beginning of an information boom, if you like, and I think it's important that people share the information that they have. At the moment, information worldwide is being bought and sold. Scientific information is on the market, and therefore it's up to the communities who value the living heritage that we have here to share the information and to make sure that what is happening where species are being degraded, where high values are being degraded, or ecological communities being...
On these few things that have been mentioned about the relationships with people in the town, I'm really keen to get a group going that's going to be putting some positive energy into that. So bear with us, because I think that we're going to
make a meeting time and let us know.
Is after this meeting a good time for people? Because the sooner we get into it, the better.
No, they're going to want to go.
Oh, we're going. Sorry.
You make a time and announce at the next meeting.
12 o'clock. 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock meeting, and then after that.
Okay.
That's the same time as that.
No, you can meet at the same time as this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock meeting.
Anybody that's interested in going into town in one way or another and getting some positive communications happening with the people.
And that runs us smoothly into the day's program.
Here we are. 10 a.m. departure for media conference. 10:30 to 11 o'clock there's a media conference in the forest. 12 o'clock there's a meeting here from report back from the scout groups and any decisions that will be made upon that. And also there'll be a meeting here for people interested in going into the community and doing community support and consultation. We're going to have a camp coordinators meeting sometime between there and there, up at the shed. Probably there, 3 o'clock, any new people here, you meet any new people, just let them know that 3 o'clock is the time that they can go and register and get some information. And we've brought down the strategy meeting from late evening on a day for today to 4 to 5:30. I hope everyone will be pleased about it, because we can sort of have an evening off.
So when's the camp meeting? It's usually at 4.
We'll decide.
It was suggested at the meeting last night that we might have an evening camp meeting after dinner, so we could be around the campfire and then follow it on with some relaxing time. So 6:30 to 7 around here.
Did the Margaret River group meet after this very quickly down there, our tent?
Can I just clarify that the 12 o'clock meeting for the scout to come here and show his support for what we are doing, for this action that has come about and has been organised by the people of WA, and now Bob is going to come and just say a few words for us. If you would, Bob, thanks very much.
Most recently I was down in the Hawk Block in December, and there, as in the other blocks that the logging has ceased in, are some of the greatest living creatures on the face of the planet. Those tall eucalypts and the wildlife that adorns them and that depends upon them are some of the greatest living things that have ever been on the face of this planet. And yet, going back to North after that visit last December, and I told Prime Minister Keating in Canberra about this in December, we were behind a huge log truck which was taking part of one trunk of one tree. It was so huge, off to its destruction, out of those forests. And the question to the Prime Minister was, how can we claim to be a civilised, well thought out society that is concerned not only about our fellow creatures but about future generations, and yet be destroying something that's centuries old, that is the nesting site for creatures which have nowhere else to go when it's destroyed, that is a monument to the natural heritage of Australia.